Oh no, my ants escaped! They are everywhere and are running around in the outworld. Even the queens are outside. What happened with my big-headed ant colony and how does this turn out? This is my big-headed ant colony, also known by their Latin name Pheidole megacephala. This is a small ant species, but they have very cool looking majors. These majors are the reason they are called big-headed ants. This ant colony is also known to inbreed, meaning there can be more egg-producing queens in the future. Right now my colony is housed in a Wakushi Venus nest. A perfect nest to start out with many types of ants. It was quite a journey with these ants. February, July, August and now September. Now they have completely outgrown this setup. There is a huge issue we are about to face. The colony can't eat or drink. When I open the lid of the Venus outworld, workers will escape. Yes, there is fluon on the sides, but it has worn down and now the ants can cross it. I tried different feeding methods, but they seem to be insufficient. We don't want this colony to die. Definitely not because of feeding problems. And believe me, these ants are hungry. Okay, obviously we can't feed the ants in their current setup, so we are going to be moving them. Their new setup will be this prototype Esthetic Ants Outworld. This outworld has a special plate on the side of the outworld, which makes it possible to connect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 test tubes. Isn't that great? The perfect amount of space for my ant colony to expand into. But now, dear viewer, there's a new problem on the horizon. How am I going to move these ants from this setup to that setup? Connecting the test tubes from one outworld to the other is not possible. See, the Wakushi tubes have a slightly different diameter than the tubes I use, so pretty much the plan won't work. There is only one thing to do, and that is moving the ants by hand. Yikes.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never.
But before I went on and moved the ants, I prepared the outworld. By applying some talcol, that is alcohol and talcum powder, on the lid of the outworld, I created a barrier which the ants are unable to cross. And there we go, nice and steady. Clicking out the first test tube, and oh my god, the ants are everywhere. Okay, can I see the queens? Where are the queens? Okay, good. 2 of them are in the outworld already. They are walking around my desk, pouring out of the tube. The outworld everywhere. Oh! With a piece of cotton, I'm trying to pick them up and release them back into the outworld. After removing the second tube, even more ants came pouring out of the outworld part. Inside the new outworld, the ants quickly discovered the new adapter and traveled up into the new test tubes. There are so many ants everywhere, it is just crazy. Within seconds, the ants started to adapt these new test tubes as their new nests. You can see these workers carrying some brood, and in the tube itself some brood is already present. Meanwhile, some ants thought the sides of the outworld are a nice place to nest. The ants were everywhere still, and I was desperately trying to clean them up. I popped out the outworld plate and tapped the remaining workers inside the nest. Let's take a short break from this adventure. The product you are seeing in this video is a prototype we are currently testing, and hopefully it will launch soon, together with the small and large Esthetic Ants Outworld. Talking about the Esthetic Ants store, have you checked it out yet? Link in the description. Okay, back to the video. Venus, escaping ants and cotton swiping. Okay, after putting in all the ants, it was finally time to take a deep breath. I put the ants on my table and I forced the heat cable in between the test tubes, which worked very well. The next day, as you can see, all the ants have moved into the test tube. To my surprise, the ants chose the tube at the bottom of the nest. In these close-ups you can see a lot of newborn majors. Majors are bigger ants that usually defend the colony in case of trouble. The species Pheidole, or these big-headed ants, use their big head to block tunnels from attacking ant colonies. Very cool if you ask me. Finally, we can feed the ants. After all this trouble, I filled a liquid feeder with the most delicious sugar water I have and gave it to them. Within seconds, workers started to drink. They must have been very thirsty. Ants came pouring out of the test tube in search of this new food source. Not long after, a trade route was established, which we are going to call Pheidole Avenue. Ants can't live off sugar water alone, so I prepared some rat runners for them as well. I freshly killed them, so they were still. And that brings us to the end of this video. Next time we'll need to move this colony again. Already looking forward to that, but not really. Do you have a good suggestion for a future setup? Let me know in the comments. This was Esthetic, and I will see you in the next video.